I've always been the underdog in my family, overshadowed by my golden child brother while I fought to carve my own path. Now that my business is thriving, my parents, who once cut me off, are asking me to hire him after he lost his job. I'm a 33-year-old man who's poured everything into building my company from nothing. It all began in my early 20s, just after college, when I was brimming with drive and big dreams. But anyone with a family like mine knows that ambition is rarely welcomed if it doesn't align with their expectations. My older brother Ethan was always the star. He glided through life effortlessly, solid grades, magnetic charm, and the right circle of friends. To my parents, he could do no wrong. He was their pride and joy, the one destined for greatness, while they expected me to settle for an ordinary life, just like theirs. It hurt, and I won't pretend it didn't. I did everything to earn their approval, but it was never enough. Every milestone I hit was eclipsed by Ethan's effortless wins. When I graduated college with distinction, they'd bring up Ethan's high school glory days instead. When I landed my first job, they gushed over Ethan's potential, while I was just supposed to stay quiet and collect a paycheck. The constant comparisons were relentless. Family gatherings, holidays, every occasion became a stage for Ethan's achievements. It was draining. Then one day I reached my breaking point. I was stuck in a soul-crushing job, barely scraping by, while Ethan lived large, always borrowing cash from our parents without a hint of reproach. I had a bold idea for a tech startup, something I was certain could succeed. It was risky, but it was my passion. I wanted to build something that was mine, free from my family's expectations. When I told my parents I was leaving my job to chase this dream, their response was crushing. Instead of encouragement, I faced disdain. They called me reckless. They said I was tossing away a secure future for a foolish fantasy. My mom was in tears. My dad gave me a lecture about how I'd never make it without their guidance. But it didn't stop there. They didn't just criticize me. They declared me a failure, a letdown to the family for not following Ethan's path. And Ethan? He was indifferent. He'd always taken the easy road and would casually remark how fortunate I was to have a stable job, mocking my dream of succeeding on my own. So, I made a choice. I walked away from my family. I took every penny I'd saved and threw it into my business. It was grueling. There were moments when I doubted I'd survive, but I kept going. I worked tirelessly, day and night. I hustled to make a name for myself. Gradually, things started to fall into place. I secured some major clients. The business expanded. Before long, I was turning a profit. Eventually, my company became successful enough for me to leave my side gigs and focus on it full-time. But as my life was taking off, Ethan's began to unravel. The golden child, who'd always had everything handed to him, got laid off. The company he worked for downsized, and despite his charm and connections, they cut him loose. From what I heard through mutual friends, Ethan didn't handle it well. He was spiraling, drinking too much, pointing fingers at everyone but himself. Then, out of the blue, I got a call. It was my parents. They wanted to reconnect. I stood there, phone in hand, torn. It had been years since we'd spoken, and this call came from nowhere. The same parents who'd disowned me, dismissed my dreams, and told me I'd fail were now reaching out. I was wary, but curiosity won, and I answered. "Son," my dad's voice came through, tinged with regret and a hint of hope. "We've been reflecting a lot about you, about your business. We were wrong to turn our backs on you. We see how hard you've worked, and we want to fix things." I nearly dropped the phone. Was this a cruel prank? This was the same man who'd told me I was wasting my life. Now, suddenly, he was changing his tune. I didn't know whether to laugh or hang up. Before I could respond, he went on. "We've seen how well you're doing. Your business is thriving, and we're proud of you. But there's something we need to discuss." My stomach churned. I could sense what was coming. "It's Ethan," my dad said, his voice dropping. "He lost his job, and he's struggling. We were hoping, with your success, you could help him out. Maybe give him a job." I went still. The words lingered, heavy and absurd. The nerve of it. These were the people who'd abandoned me, ignored my struggles, and propped Ethan up no matter what. Now, after everything, they expected me to hand him a job? I wanted to shout, to remind them of every wound they'd inflicted, but I held back. Instead, I kept my voice steady. "You don't get it," I said. "I worked myself to the bone to get here. No one handed me anything. No one was there when I needed support. And now, after all this time, you want me to help the person who never had."